Hey folks, this is Alex with 72 Hours, and today I'm here to teach you how to use Mylar bags in combination with oxygen absorbers to help store your food products for long-term storage. So the first thing you want to do is you want to assemble the necessary items. So what we have here, this is called an impulse sealer, and then we have the food products that we want to store. So the next thing we have is, of course, the oxygen absorber, and then our Mylar bags. What we've done here is we've actually labeled the Mylar bags and we've dated them beforehand. We've premeditated what we're going to put in each one of these, but you can do this before or after, it doesn't matter. But make sure that you do label it because you won't be able to tell what's inside the bag when you're done. And definitely put a date on it so you have an idea as to how long it's really been sitting in storage. And then we have a mason jar. And the mason jar is going to help us keep our excess oxygen absorbers after we've opened up this airtight bag here, and try to prevent them from being wasted because we're definitely not going to be using all of these in the process. So you don't want to use the Mylar bags and the oxygen absorber with something that's oily like nuts or something like sugar. But if it's dry, then that works perfect with this combination. You could always still use the Mylar bags with something that is a bit oily or something sugary, but definitely not with the oxygen absorber. Okay, so the first thing that I like to do is I like to take a pot or a box or something that can help you prop up the bags so you can have them ready to add the contents into the bag. So I just open them up and then get them all positioned and ready. And for the Mylar bags, we've got multiple different sizes. Today we just brought 3. So we've got the 1 quart, we've got the half gallon, and we've got a full gallon. But then we also cover 2 gallon and 5 gallon sizes, so you can store tons of food if you really want to. But today we're just using the 3 different sizes. So the first product that we're going to store are our white beans. Take them and just simply fill your Mylar bag. What you want to do is make sure that they don't get too close to the top. This is a little bit too close to the top. These Mylar bags come with a Ziploc on the top as well, but we suggest that you do seal it with a sealer to ensure that it really is protected. But we stop about an inch before the Ziploc, and I would say probably the same for you. If your Mylar bags don't have a Ziploc component, then you want to stop probably 2 to 3 inches from the top of the bag so that you have enough room given to yourself to seal it properly. We're using the pot to hold this thing stable, and also when you're pouring the contents into the bag, then the pot will help gather anything that possibly misses, but here we go. Okay, so the next step is a step you're gonna have to act with quite a bit of haste. So what we're gonna be doing essentially is taking the oxygen absorber and putting it into the Mylar bag to help remove all of the oxygen within the Mylar bag just before we seal it, try to help ensure that we can keep this food fresh. The different size Mylar bags are going to require a different amount of oxygen absorbers. We have 3 different sizes here. So this is the smallest, medium, largest. These ones here are great for the 5 gallon bags. These ones here, I'm only going to be using the medium size, but I'll definitely have to use more of the medium size in a 1 gallon bag than I will in the half gallon or in the 1 quart. We used 3 different types of food here. We used white beans, we used pasta, and we used the rice. These all have different density to them. So something like a shapely pasta is gonna have a lot more pockets of oxygen within the bag. So you're gonna have to use more oxygen absorbers with a product like that, as opposed to rice, which sits close to each other and will have less air pockets within it. I like to give these a nice, really good shake to condense them down to the bottom, and that helps remove any of the air pockets before I get to the next step, which is putting these into the bags. I also would like to heat my sealer or the hair straightener to ensure that it's ready to go, because like I said, this is going to be something that you want to do quickly, because the second that these actually touch air, they immediately start absorbing oxygen. So the amount of time that it's exposed to air outside of the bag will hinder its ability to absorb the oxygen within the bag. So you want to be quick, quick, quick. Also, when we're done putting these into the bag, we're going to be putting the rest of the components of this into this mason jar and then sealing that with the idea that we can probably come back to these and there's probably still a little life in them to help us seal future items. I'm going to get this mason jar ready. We're going to unseal these And now the second these touch the air, they're starting to get activated. So I want to quickly transfer them to the mason jar, because now they're starting to absorb the air. And then quickly start putting these into my products. I'm going to put 2 in the 1 gallon, 1 in the half gallon, and 1 in the 1 quart. And then I'm going to squeeze as much air as I possibly can out of these bags before I seal it. You also want to close this sealed and do the same for these other bags. And so what I've done though is, with the amount of oxygen absorber that I've put into each one of these bags, it's more than the amount that was actually necessary for me to absorb all the air. And what that is actually kind of a safety precaution in ensuring the fact that you're not going to be leaving any air inside these bags exposed to your food, which could spoil your food. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our sealer or your hair straightener or iron, and then you're going to seal your Mylar bag. These Mylar bags do have a Ziploc component to it, but a lot of them are just open-ended, so you won't have that. So it is imperative that you seal this properly. So just take your sealer, there you go, and seal that shut. Do that to all of your bags. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna leave this for 24 hours and then come check on it in the morning, and you should notice that there's a component of this that is deflated. It's not gonna look entirely vacuum sealed because oxygen actually only comprises of 20% of the air that we breathe, but you will notice a change in the size of the packaging, and then that should be air sealed and ready to be stored for a later date, for years to come. So now that we've properly sealed and labeled all our food products, I suggest taking something to store them in, like this bucket with the Ready Seal lid. Throw those in there, label the bucket so you know the components, and then take your Ready Seal lid and screw that on, and that'll give it even extra protection. You want to store this in a nice cool and dry place, and then keep it so it's easily accessible in case you have an emergency situation and somebody can get to it immediately. Thank you very much for listening, guys. This is Alex with 72 Hours, and we'll catch you next time.